India would be conducting this policy lab. At Dalberg, Sri Sareen leads climate initiatives across Asia Pacific and globally. He also drives thought leadership, strategic partnerships, and internal capacity building in the climate sector. With over 17 years of experience in areas of green infrastructure, investment, and climate finance, he has worked with several key global institutions. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you. All right, guys. I know we just had lunch. Some of you want to have tea, coffee, or continue chit chat, but we're going to take a bit of a break. We're going to do some group activity, so you have to huddle up. So try to join groups so that we have full tables. Would you mind shifting a bit, join other groups so that we have complete tables? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. All right? Good. So by now, I'm assuming you attended tech innovation sessions, 2 other labs, where you understood how the technology is working, how innovation and startup ecosystem works. So we're going to bring those learnings to this group. All right? Please settle down quickly because we're going to give you some activity very quickly. All right. Okay. So in the last 2 policy labs on climate, we started with understanding the experiences delegates had, personal experiences, work experiences, on the impacts of climate change. Heat, flooding, hurricanes, tornadoes, what have you. How they have experienced firsthand. Delegates also talked about air pollution, causing health damage, stress, all kinds of things. In the session right before this, we talked about solutions, and it seems most of you, if not all of you, are engaged somewhere in one solution or other, either policy making, communications, solutions from waste management to renewable energy to electric vehicles and all the rest. Now for this session, let's try to bring it all together. And what we're going to do is choose a policy agenda, and each table will all prepare either for it or against it. Yeah? Let me take an example which is very live in India, which is the e-mobility, electric mobility agenda. You know? We all know that majority of our modes of transportation, they are on diesel, gasoline, petrol, or maybe CNG. There is a big push to move to electric mobility. While there are efforts to bring biofuels into it and go even biking more, have pathways in urban settings to reduce the need for burning fuels for transportation, but the reality is we need more of transportation solutions, and there is a push to go electric. Yeah? So that's going to be our policy problem for this afternoon. And I'm going to assign which table will go for it and against it. And you have to choose one of the presenter among yourself who's going to articulate the group's voice in terms of arguing for the motion, saying this policy is so important because, and then you're going to layer employment benefits, energy security benefits, climate mitigation, reduction in air pollution, you name it. And you have to list it down and articulate. The other group is going to debate against that policy and say why this is not going to work. We don't have enough electric cars, people don't like electric cars, we don't have enough electricity, we have to import all of it, all kind of reasons why this policy should not be implemented. Yeah? And we're going to go table by table and hear each other. All right? Are we ready? All right. So you're going to go for it. That means why EV policy should be implemented. Yeah? And you can use country examples from your various experiences on the table. You're going to against it, why EV should not be implemented. All right? Table there, and you have to remember what side of the coin you're ending. Huh? You're going to go for it, against, and for. So at the end, we will have more fors, and people against have to win over this positive agenda and say this doesn't work. All right? So this is for, against, for, all right? Okay, you have 20 minutes to debate among yourselves and put a policy memo which is presented to the minister in charge of that agenda. It has to be very articulate, sharp, and each team will get about 5 minutes to present, all right? So let's do a time check quickly. Whoa. It's 2:28. At 2:50, we're going to start the drum roll, and each group is going to represent, okay? So task, to be very clear, prepare a policy memo, find a rapporteur or somebody who's going to make the case, all right? Your time starts now. Don't use ChatGPT, Perplexity, DeepSeek, nothing. It's your brains. Turn your phones upside down. Resist the temptation, use your brain. I hope you guys are not running out of ideas. You done? Keep thinking. You're against the motion. Yeah. If you have any question, clarification, you want to ask? Uh-huh. Take the mic. Everybody can benefit from your question.
Okay, so my question is very simple. Like EV policy is a very broad term and several aspects come within it. So, what is your, can you define it in a specific way so that it's more productive debate?
So it's as simple, you can define that by 2030, we're going to change 50% of the current fleet in the country, anything that is on the road, to EV. Or you could do the reverse and say any vehicle which is about 10 years of age would be taken out, be replaced by electric vehicle. Or you can go aggressive and say, even for, it's not just EV, whole mobility is going to go green. So planes will go on sustainable fuel, ships will go on ammonia, whatever, green hydrogen. You could be as ambitious or as critical as you want. Yeah, from two-wheelers to four-wheelers to passengers, narrow as you want. And people who are arguing against the motion, think it through again, because most of the countries are going through this transition. There must be reasons why they are implementing such a policy, and your argument should not fall flat when the people for the motion are going to trump you with positive agenda. So think hard, have strong arguments why EV policy is doomed to fail. Yeah? Think again. And if you guys conclude quickly, we can start quickly, but you have time. How's this group doing? Doing good? Are you ready? Keep going. Ask me questions if you have to. Sure. Works? Yeah. Go slow. That's fine. Keep noting it down and find somebody who's going to present this. How's this group doing? Doing good? Getting a handle on the problem? You're for it or against it? Good. We'll see. At the end, we're going to take a vote, whether you're convinced or not, we should go ahead or not. And if you lose, you lose. If you give peanuts, you get monkeys. All right, how is this group doing? You're for or against? Okay. You guys seems very calm. You guys are done with your homework? Yeah, you still have time. You still have a few minutes. Keep going. If you have any question, ask me. Any country you pick. You can pick any country. Or even a region or a capital city or just a city. Any, Choose anything you want to choose. As ambitious as tiny. We have 5 more minutes. Don't forget to write down the brilliant points you're hearing from your colleagues. Note it down. Somebody has to report back. Somebody is trying ChatGPT. Last 3 minutes. All right. 1 more minute. Last minute. You lost a member of your team? He ran away? Okay. He's going to report back now. All right. Guys, time up. Let's start hearing. Okay. From this group, for the motion, against the motion. 4. Okay, let's make it a little fun. Why don't you go up to the lectern? Who's the rapporteur here? Come on. You thought policy making was easy. Yeah, all the way there. Up on the podium. Yes, I have a lot of it. Go up there. Check if the mic is working. All right, it's working. Okay, guys, pay attention. Time up. Now it's time to listen.
Hello.
Introduce yourself and go for the motion.
All right, so I'm Shahiro, I'm from Malaysia. So for the motion, we are from the government, so we are for EV implementation. And as the group decided, we are going to be focusing more on the promotion of EV in the public sector. So in this case, public infrastructure, public transportation, and echoing the spirit of ESG, environment, social, and governance, we're going to be looking into a few angles of things. For example, when we talk about a promotion of EV, of course, nothing is perfect, nothing is good in one go. And for the government side, we are trying to find the best possible outcome, especially in the contemporary world where the just energy transition, cleaner energy transition is happening on the go. And we can't afford to be sidelined, especially when competition, the demand for it is on the rise. As such, taking into example in Malaysia, we have the National Energy Transition Roadmap, in which we want to increase the mix of energy production to be more sustainable. And we are targeting by 2050 to be a net zero carbon nation. Therefore, in terms of electric vehicles, we are looking into the benefits for it for the people, especially in terms of job creation that comes from, one, the upskilling of skills, so they have to learn how to use it, how to operate it, and of course, the post-services as well, in terms of maintaining the fleet, maintaining the ecosystem, the infrastructure, and then of course, in terms of our climate change commitment, because the combustion of diesel engines and fuels are contributing to climate change greenhouse gases. So by producing or promoting electric vehicles, we are trying to reduce our nationally determined contribution. And when it comes to the other aspects of things, we're looking into new economic opportunity because now we can build on the manufacturing capabilities of electric vehicles, and we can also impose taxes in the imports and exports of electric vehicle components. So for that, one of the things that come into mind when we talk about electric vehicles, right? It promotes innovation as well. So with all the things aligned, highlighted, we support the promotion of electric vehicles, especially in the current contemporary situation, yes. So that's all from the government side.
From the group, if you want to supplement anything which he may have missed. So do you drive a EV yourself? You take electric bus. Good. If you would have said no, okay, against the motion, who's going to go up? All right.
Hello, hello, mic testing. Yeah, cool. So the way we are trying to frame this is while we are not against EVs, we are against any sort of forced or aggressive implementation of EVs, which can include perhaps the policies that are being listed like taking off vehicles which are above a certain age of the tracks, or aggressively pushing EV vehicles in the economy. We have identified 7 reasons spread across 3 core brackets why we feel that EV implementation is, like if aggressive EV implementation is negative for the economy. First is economic. Most of the economies of ASEAN and particularly India are based on IC combustion based engine manufacturing, and majority of jobs are based on those sectors in the automobile sector. And if you try to bring in the EVs by force, what you'd have to do is start importing batteries, because indigenously still don't have that technology and manufacturing bandwidth, which would lead to massive amount of job loss and increase of imports. We saw something like this happening when there are certain pushes from the government couple of years, like 5-6 years back, and we have got again to stabilizing. Second is depreciation of assets. If you try to remove vehicles over say 10 years from the road, then you're leading to high depreciation of assets. If you try to remove vehicles over say 10 years from the road, then you're leading to higher depreciation speed of those assets, which could have led to a supply compared to what we need. And with the data centers coming up in the AI space, you need even more energy. Second bracket is political. As we heard from our friends in Myanmar, more EVs leads to rare earth mining and conflict economy being fueled in other ASEAN countries, which we are strongly against. And like in the political, the second point is sovereignty. Right now, most of the ASEAN countries are able to manufacture IC combustion-based engines themselves. But if we try to unnaturally push the EV adoption instead of natural development pace, we lose our sovereignty, because we have to get it imported from China and other countries. And the third bracket is environmental. Even if we change to EV, you would have to consume electricity, which in most cases in ASEAN countries and India is still primarily based on coal and other non-renewable sources. So technically the impact or on the climate impact is not much. And fourth is, when you're trying to get more batteries, you have to increase more rare earth mining, which essentially leads to environmental damage, because these mines are pretty hazardous, and if you have to increase those, that are pretty damaging. Thank you.
Thank you. You make an important point, and let's maybe spend a minute on it, which is the risk of stranded assets. You know, in climate policy making, there are two kinds of risks which financial institution, financial sector at large, or central banks are worried about. One is physical risk of climate, which is heat, flooding, typhoons, cyclones, you name it, and the damage it causes. Second is abrupt or very fast-paced policy changes. Get rid of coal tomorrow. Get rid of all ICE engines tomorrow. Old vehicles should be phased out in 2 years. Or any consumption which is high on fossil fuels has to be get rid very, very quickly. The point you made of depreciation of the value of the asset, you know, you may know how the GDP is calculated, the value and the value addition. If tomorrow you know that your asset is going to be worthless, the price goes down, the people who give you loan would be sitting on a non-performing asset, and if you put it all together, it creates a huge stranded asset risk to the economy. And this is a bigger worry for developing economies where resources are still scarce and we have larger developmental priorities. But the trick is not to present it as a false choice, that because of this we are not going to do it. Let's do it intelligently so that more jobs are created. People who are in ICE business, they are retrained, upskilled, and they become wealth creators in the EV business. And that's how it's happening, you know. Take an automobile company. Now they are venturing into e-mobility as well. But the important point to remember from a policy perspective is the issue of transition risk, which is very, very important. Okay, with that, let's invite another group for the motion. Third group, please. You have to go up there. What is the debate here? You don't have to support anything. She can support herself, all right? Go up there. This is again a false choice, that men have to empower women for them to take the lead. Completely ridiculous.
So this is how it feels, huh? So yeah, we are from the group, what do we call our group as? Anyway.
Speaking for the motion, remember that.
Yes. we would like to introduce to you our Mine to Road initiative. Think of it as farm to table, but this time it's mine to road. What it means is like it's about ecosystem. It includes a framework. It includes a certain standards, not only in business and human rights, but also sustainable mining in terms of sourcing. We're talking about incentives. We're talking about government procurement for public transport. We agree with the other groups when they talk about we want to prioritize public transport first for EV, and that's true. We're not against EV. We just want to be clear about which EV we are prioritizing, which is from the public sector, and then the private sector follows suit. We also discuss about sharing technology and expertise. Of course, we're talking about intellectual property rights and expertise. I think all over ASEAN and India, we have very great scientists, and we can share that resource as well with each other. And I think one of the most important point that we had actually is we gotta have our own standard in every of this. Like, of course, we need KPI, right? Certain percentage of, for example, for EV batteries to be ethically sourced by the year of something something. But then, what kind of standard do we use? Do we use the ISO standard, like the global standard, the global North standard, or do we have our own standard in ASEAN and India? Because then it's never apple to apple when we compare ourselves to the global North, which has history of colonizing us. I think that's the elephant in the room. In order for us to catch up our progress, also we introduce as well, yes, we want open partnerships and explore partnerships and kind of like financing, but also maybe we need a little bit of trade barriers, non-trade barriers, right? For example, we have other major players of EVs like China, etc. But then how do we build this regional power, and also in India as well as a very close ally to ASEAN in order to make this happen? And policy framework with roadmaps as well. Basically, we can see this very viable by basically transforming, for example, buses and taxis into EVs. And we're talking about the real roadmap in a few years. How do we achieve it? What kind of funding do we have? Do we also need PPP, public-private partnerships, not only relying on one-off CSR? We need concrete participation from each sectors, and we need everyone to be on board to make this happen. Mine to Road initiative for your consideration. Thank you.
Big round of applause. Before you go, go back. Little quiz.
Yes.
Name 3 EV companies which sell cars.
Name 3 EV companies.
Yes, please.
Sadly, it's going to be our competitor. I would say BYD, and I would say Xiaomi is growing as well. I mean, and then Tesla is not really growing. They have been deplunking, but they are one of the, still has a large share of the market.
Which one you have driven?
BYD.
It's a good car, no?
It is.
Good.
Very
Okay.
competitive.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
From here?
No? Discourage them. Do something. So they all are making for and against case for EV policy. Yeah.
Can everybody hear?
Yeah.
Yeah, good afternoon. We are against the EV policy.
Please introduce yourself. We want to know who you are.
Okay, my name is Tamanna Shikanmonti and this is my team here. So basically, we are against the debate to implement EV policy. First, we need to define that we are not against EV policy as a policy, but we want to make it more phase-wise rather than an aggressive measure. So the first point we want to talk about is financing from the government. For example, like everybody is saying that they should implement EV in public transport, which is not feasible given that we are a developing economy. And if it does happen, then fiscal deficit would be a major issue. And as you are all aware, global economy is currently facing a lot of debt burdens. So fiscal deficit is not something which we can afford. If aggressive policies like replacing EVs at a rapid stage, replacing ICE vehicles at rapid stage takes place. I think Second is infrastructure. Like if the basic infrastructure is taken place, like for example road safety, or even for manufacturing, like a better manufacturing basis, ease of doing business, if that is taken place, then EV policy could be implemented, but it's not something which we see it right now. Um, and at the same time, we also need to understand one thing, that EV vehicle right now is not affordable. And if everybody, for example, in Vietnam, like there have been policy discussions that that they will be replacing they will be replacing ICE vehicles with EVs, and they're not giving enough money as a way to compensate. So you are reducing the mobility of individuals if you are implementing such policies. And at the same time, and as our previous group has also added, that depreciation of assets is another important issue that we need to resolve as a collective. And one more thing we wanted to say is that there's this common debate, common narrative that EV is far more environmentally friendly. But then what about the fact that mining, like rare earth mining, has considerable environmental and political risk, like especially in a conflict-ridden states in Southeast Asia, and also some parts of India also. Like it can aggravate further, and it may also cause the human-wildlife conflict as well, because most of the laws around mining are pretty relaxed, and they can be manipulated very easily. So what about protecting the forest? If you see a mine that comes under buffer zone, and the second, and most importantly, the sea, like because there have been some discoveries about lithium in the sea, in the ocean beds, and if there's a mining thing, already the South China Sea conflict has been taken place of the our resources. Like for example, I think there's been a considerable hydrocarbon reserves, for example, in South China Sea. So there's a conflict between Japan and China because of that. Now, how much can we afford resource wars, given that we are in a more geopolitically vulnerable position? And lastly, I want to say about the safety risk. Like for example, like Southeast Asia and India, we have hot and humid climate. And EVs are not that feasible, like because they might explode. Like for example, Ola bikes have exploded. Like there have been incidents of that. And safety risk is a very important factor. If EV manufacturers can resolve it, then I think EV policy is good. But right now, if it is not in place, the safety check and compliance, then I think EV policy should not be aggressively implemented. Thank you so much.
Thank you. A big round of applause for her. I think among many other forceful arguments, one point you highlighted is technological risk. And we spoke about transition risk. Inherent in transition risk is technological risk. Whether this technology is ready for mass adoption, whether in this rush to shift to EVs are we cutting corners as policymakers, implementers, because of whatever pressure of NDC pressure, global commitment pressure, this, that, we are bringing technologies, not testing, not customizing it to our local environment and needs, and then that happens, the Ola blast, the bike went kaput, yeah, those kind of things. So in any policy formulation process, one has to look at whether it's based on a technological shift and whether this technology is ready for the large-scale rollout. Then standards, safety, demonstration projects, and various things come into play. All right, last group, 4. Who's going to present? Come on. Go up there. Take your time, no hurry.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair. Today, we rise in the support of an EV car, not because we want to ride on the coattails of the tech company, but because we prioritize the health of our human resources. We aim to reduce the incidence of respiratory healthcare problems, and also we're trying to reduce the occurrence of cardiovascular diseases. In this way, we can reduce the loss of premature mortality rate, and thereafter we can increase the health of our human resources that will improve our country in the future. So how are we going to implement this policy? So first, we start from building an infrastructure to support the use of EV car. We're going to launch a charging port and a charging network, and we're going to enhance the battery exchange station and enhance the training workforce as well. And in parallels with that, we're going to subsidize an alternative sources of energy, and we're also going to increase the manufacturing sectors in order to increase the labor productivity in the manufacturing sectors for the EV cars as well. So that will allows our country to become a hub for the productions of EV cars as well. So we can increase the use of EV car not only in a domestic use, but also extend it on the international level as well. And that is all for our groups. Thank you.
Thank you. Very articulate. So delegates, you've heard each other. And let's take a collective vote. Yeah, show of hands. Now you can ditch your tables and switch in your head whether you're for or against it, okay? So who all are for, after hearing everyone, for the motion that means EV should be aggressively implemented, EV policies? Show of hand for. No one? Not even the fours? Fours, you have to raise your hand that you are still in support of that. No? Nobody wants EV? Wow, what happened? Are you bored? You for it or you swap to against it now? They were so convincing. Sorry? Okay, so nobody wants to go aggressive, no? Everybody wants to go very slow. That's the last thing I expected to come from a youth delegation, say go very slow. One hand, okay, she is for it.
I just want to say why you are not, why we think that aggressive approach is not the right approach, given the fact that we are a developing economy, and at the same time we also understand the divide, societal divide, and such policies are not favorable to especially those who are from disadvantaged groups. Even if we say that it is good for everybody, I agree that it has several benefits. But
Yes.
we also need to be realistic about our approach towards EV implementation and if we can focus more on target based rather than a rapid and a very transformational aspect of EV implementation.
Sure. So let's unpack this. I think most of the groups which were even for it, they were like, "Oh, don't go aggressive." People who were against it were making the point, this is bad, aggressive. So let's unpack this. This argument is based on, in your arguments, that people don't have money, technology may not be ready, this is going to disadvantage some groups, we have to do imports, or it's, mining and all that is going to cause a lot of harm somewhere, because we are not mining, but somebody has to mine. Any policy is based on some clear objectives. Before you come to aggressive rollout or not, I think the first thing you need to be very clear about, what is it you're trying to achieve? Why EV is in the first place, yeah? Are you trying to replace oil import dependence? If that's your objective, every year All countries are paying billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars, which they could have spent for developmental efforts for buying oil. So you're trying to replace it. Is that a good thing or not? Should we stop the imports right away if possible? Of course, if possible. So the other bit is climate change itself, you know. No one spoke about this point that unless we change our transportation system rapidly, we are all toast. So in all of you, there is so much caution, but you lack policy ambition. Take it for granted, any policy which starts here, only 50% gets implemented, at best. If you're already very cautious and not ambitious, if you start from 50, only 5 will happen, given various complexities. The point I'm making is, in various policy formulation processes, first step is clear objective. Before you come to implementation challenges, whether it should be aggressive or not, and what are you trying to achieve? If your prime objective is mitigation of climate change, then that's the objective. That's what you want to achieve. Rest becomes an implementation pathway to achieve that. But the trick of policy making is there is never singular objective, you know, especially in developing countries. In developed countries, sometimes it's a singular objective. Here we have to provide jobs, economic growth, take care of various things in any policy making. So it becomes multiple objectives. And that's where the complexity comes, and most of the policy failures happen because the objective is not clearly defined. Yeah? The second bit is it politically viable? Some of you touched on that, but I think you have to sharpen your argument in your thinking. While some may get disadvantaged, but are you creating a positive lobby who are going to make billions out of this new transition? Because somebody is going to build EV, somebody is going to service EV, somebody is going to sell EV, somebody is going to take that EV and use it for productive purposes. You are creating another positive lobby for EV. And the same ICE people would be half of that new lobby. So think of the political objective and the arguments for and against both. For a politician in policy making, always remember policy making stands on 3 stools, you know, 3 legs, if you will. One is politics, third is people. What is the second? Resources. Do you have the money? If the politician thinks that he or she could swing the votes, the people, and they have enough resources, no matter how controversial the policy is, they will go for it. Yeah? So in your thinking, when you're writing policy memos, think of the politician and the politics and the resources. These are the 3 things typically they worry about. Who's going to make money, who's going to lose money, and all that. Other thing which many of you, again, on the slow roll out, didn't articulate enough or strongly, both for and against, what is the implementation apparatus? What exactly is needed for this? Yeah? Can you have aggressive loans given out, incentives given out? If you scrap your 10-year vehicle, you will get 50% cheaper loan for EV. People are going to scrap their vehicles. They want a new vehicle. Show of hands, who wants a new vehicle or ride an old vehicle? No, you guys are bored now. If you get a chance to ride a Tesla or an old Ford, what are you going to ride? Tesla, yeah? You want a dumper truck? You want to ride a pony? That's obvious, even if you're not articulating. Everyone will go for a new machine, a new automobile, if they're given a chance. So this argument that we all like our old thing, we don't want to scrap it, it stands on a very weak argument that it would be too costly. If you make it a bit cheaper, people are going to go for a new vehicle. Why not? We all like new iPhones, we all like new laptops. Why not new car, which is fancy? Anyone who has not been in an electric vehicle, there you have to show of hand. Come on. So you take a ride in an e-vehicle, you're going to fall in love with it. It's so comfortable, no pollution, no smell, no sound. You go to Beijing now, it feels like there is nothing moving on the road. It's so silent, or in Tianjin. Noise pollutions have come down. Air pollution has come down. So people who are making for the case or argument, you should amplify these things, you know. Yesterday, everybody said air pollution, biggest problem. Today, nobody picked on it that this reduces local air pollution big time. Even if the electricity is partly coming from coal from somewhere else, none of the major cities has power plants. Electricity comes from somewhere else, but you're going to ride here. Zero pollution. Hardly any sound. New vehicle, glossy one. Why not? Yeah? All right. I've been told I've been speaking too much and my time is up. Okay, guys, I think we had a very, very good time debating for and against the motion. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the insightful session and the delegates for your active participation. As we close, I'm confident that all delegates will carry forward learnings from this policy lab to shape more sustainable futures. Thank you. A gentle reminder to all delegates, the next plenary will begin at 3:45 p.m. sharp.
They're still not ready, we go third. And if it's still not ready, we'll go without the slides.
Thank you, yes.